Hi everyone, this video is connected to lesson 2.9, specifically dealing with weighted averages. So in this situation, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to look at how you can calculate your own grade, or how you can at least double check if your grade is correct in your grade book. So I have just a random example here. So say our student has an engagement grade of 92%. Their average from their homework and prep assignments is coming out to be an 83%. And currently the average on their test scores is coming out to be a 75%. And what I want you to note here is that each piece of their grade has a different weight attached to it. So as you can see with regards to engagement and homework and prep, they have the same weight. They account for 15% of the total grade. If you look at tests, this counts for the most weight. This counts for half of the grade, or 50%. I understand that right now, if you're asking the question, but these don't add up to 100%, it's because we haven't included the final exam, because at this point we haven't taken one, so we're not going to include it in our calculations. So what we want to note here is that since each one has its own specific weight, we need to take that into account. So really, when we're saying that we have a grade of 92 in engagement, that's only going to get to have 15% of the total power in figuring out the grade. Again, as we can see with regards to tests, because it accounts for 50%, the tests carry more weight, or more power, or more say. So in terms of determining or how to set up a weighted average, what we're going to do is we need to find out specifically how much power, or what percentage of each of the grades that we have are going to earn. So for example, with regards to engagement, we can say, all right, I know that 15% of the grade is going to account for that 92%. And then I'm going to go ahead and move to homework and prep. I know that 15%, so that weight, is going to impact the 83% that I've earned. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with tests. We know that the weight is going to be 50% on the average grade of 75%. Okay, so when we go ahead and do this, we also want to talk about, well, how much weight am I dealing with here right now? Because again, as we had mentioned, the final is not included in our calculations yet, because this student hasn't taken the final. So if we were to include that weight, we would actually pull the grade way down, because since they have not taken the final yet, we would assume that their average score on the final exam is a 0. So that's why we're not putting it in right now, because it would make their grade look worse. So what we would do is, we know that we're using a weight of 15 for engagement. We're using a weight of 15 for homework and prep. And then we're also using a weight of 50% for the tests. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is we're just actually going to do some basic work here. So 15% times 92% is going to give me a 0.138 when I do that multiplication. Then we're going to do 15% times 83%, and that's going to give me a 0.1245, and then 50% times the 75% is going to give you a 0.375, and that's all going to be over a total weight of 80%. So if you add up the 0.15 plus the 0.15 plus the 0.50, so again, we're only dealing with 80% of the total grade right now. And if you recall, so if you go back and look at your syllabus, the final exam accounts for 20% of the total grade. Again, since this student has not taken the final, we're not including that portion in there yet. So when we go ahead and add up the numerator, or the top half of the fraction, we're going to get 0.6375, and we're going to divide that by the 80%. And this is going to give me 0.796875. So in other words, if we were to convert this into a percentage, since we were just working with the decimals this entire time, we're going to say that the student's average score in the class right now is going to be 79.6875%. Or if we rounded this to the nearest tenths place, we would say this is 79.7% about. So I hope that this helped shed a little bit more light in terms of dealing with weighted averages. If you do have any other questions, or if you found that the video does need some further explanation, please let me know.